I am super excited to welcome you all here on our stage. I am collaborating with Ritu, and she is going to tell you all about it, all what she has done up until now. Ritu, can you tell us about your career?
Well, absolutely. First of all, welcome. Thank you for joining us. And Edith, thank you for putting it all in place. What an exciting topic. And I am equally excited to share my journey, how I got there, and why this topic is so interesting to me. So let's step back. So, who I am. Well, I'm based in New York region. I am a technologist by profession. However, I have along my professional journey many other accomplishments. I'm an author. I'm an award-winning documentarian, and I'm also a founder of a nonprofit. So there's a lot of need that comes in when you become an entrepreneur. That how do you establish yourself? How do you establish your um, position in the or branding in a marketplace? So this has been a very interesting learning journey for myself. Here we are, many years later, what we have learned, and we will be um, sharing with you. With that said, I am so excited to be here, Edith. Let's hear from you. Please share your journey.
Thank you so much, Ritu. That was a very, very impressive bio and very impressive career you've had there. So, hi everyone. I'm Edith Wolek. I'm a founder of Emperor's Media, which is a brand and design consultancy, and I utilize my 20 years of experience in advertising and branding design for both corporate and medium-sized businesses. I create artwork for printed and digital media, and I ensure that business owners can have more time to focus on reaching their marketing goals. I'm also a publisher of a digital magazine called Courage Magazine Global, which supports women in recognizing authority within themselves, and it provides a hugely important visibility to women who are making a positive impact in this world. And I'm a mother of three beautiful children who I am very proud of. So let's just hop in and tell our business owners what is it all about. So Ritu, let me just pull up some questions. Um, it's not starting up, so I will just grab it right here.
Sure.
So Ritu, how would you advise on how to create unique business messaging for one particular business? Because we know that messaging is so crucial, and you can hear a lot of noise around it. But how can you custom made kind of for one particular unique business?
Yes. Thank you for that question, Edith. It is not as easy, but it's not difficult either. So let me put that first. So the personal brand or any brand, whether it's your business as a commercial or as a personal brand, is a reflection of values. And it's so important that if we, as business owners, are establishing our market presence, if we don't define it, someone else is going to. So we need to understand what those personal values, passions, strengths that we are bringing into that brand, either is personal or commercial. So reflecting them into what we do, what we offer, either they are products or services. So you need to kind of weave that in, and that starts your images. So I talk about those pillars and passions. So some of the pillars of those branding are the values that you represent in your services or products. And your question is that how businesses would be able to create a unique brand. Let's talk about it just briefly on that. Is there are a lot of businesses that you would see uh, a lot of competition. So everyone gathers a number of audiences or consumers. Some would be loyal customers, others would be trying different things. Your product is replicated by many other providers. In a unique business where branding becomes really key is, which is born out of a need or is not as commonly offered by many people. It could be, I'm going to use some examples as for some personal experiences, traumatic experiences, or uh, some devastating experience, or a market need that something we faced for the first time as a society, as a humanity, and a lot of new needs came in, or something that may not be um, easy for people to go reach out to other experts and ask for help. But there's a lot of people behind the scenes who want that type of support. So your business becomes so unique. Edith, we were speaking the other day. I mentioned the person I had known, a bereavement. She had 3 different groups because that was, she decided that not everybody fit into one group.
No.
Right? So those are the kind of very unique situation. And if you are going to offer some services, you need to understand yourself how to brand it. So that's, it could be the commercial, it could be personal, and it could be a very unique brand.
It is, because every single business is unique, has unique messaging, has unique tone of voice and character, unique, of course, unique branding and unique message that they want to translate to their customers. And obviously, there are not many businesses having exactly the same products, exactly the same services.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's keep moving. And I would ask you a question now. Where, Edith, please share, where do businesses start with creating a brand? Let's get to the basics.
Yes. So the way you start with the brand is you start with, especially small businesses, small and medium-sized businesses. You start from who you are, who you want to help, and how what are the services that you are providing. So you start from the core values within you, and the message that you want to tell the audience and tell everybody. It's super unique, and you start with the core values first. The next thing is you've got to do a market research. Who are your audiences? Who is your target audience? Because the way your branding is aligned to you and to your core values. However, you've got to translate that and find out who is your target audience, and therefore connecting your branding to your audience and making it attractive to them. So that's how I would start. I would also suggest new business owners starting their own community, starting connecting and networking with like-minded people, but also people with different characteristics to themselves, so you can see whether your brand is going to fit that or that kind of audience, or if you're still figuring out, it's very simple to just stick to one kind of target audience, but make sure you find out that are they men, women, are they children, then you will target the parents, whether they are married, how much they earning, what are their interests, where do they hang out, because not many people are finding out where the target audience are hanging out. That's where you get to find your target audience. And it's super important as well is to I wanted something escaped me, but it's super important to create that messaging to fit that audience, and you mentioned that as well. So there are several different steps, and probably last but not least is to create your brand identity, which is the actual graphics.
Yes.
That you apply across all your media channels, all your marketing materials, and also reflect your core values, reflect your personality in that branding. So you need to translate your message within your brand, as well as fitting that branding to the target audience. And it certainly is a strategy for it. And if you would go like step by step, then you would build up on that branding and create more and more assets to your branding. In addition, I would say consistency in branding is very important. And it's not only consistency in branding as such, but consistency in your words, in your behavior, consistency in across those different digital aspects, either digital or in person. So if people visit your website and then they go and visit your business, then they will get the same feeling, whether it's a luxury that would reflect a luxurious experience, whether it's online or offline. You get to create that consistency within the brand.
Okay.
Yeah, so let's hop on to another question that Ritu is really passionate about to talk about, which is about all different branding differences. Can you tell us a little bit about visual and emotional and logical differences in branding?
Yes, absolutely. I would love to share my screen if that's possible, because I think the visual would make a big, um, it helps. So let's get to, I'm going to come back a little bit as this part of the presentation, before I get into the visual grants, etc., the visual and emotional, I want to say that when you look at any of these symbols, it's no word associated with it. They become etched in our images, right? So that's all. There is just a logo. And why I wanted to share that was your logo is not your brand. It can be, but it may not. Just make sure that you understand that if you created a logo, a lot of people mistake that logo being a brand. For Apple or Nike or McDonald's or Facebook, yes, their logo is their brand. For you and me, or a small business owner or a subject matter expert, we need a little bit more than that. Why I say that as in a commercial, as a emotional, um, uh, and in other words, I am now freezing up in my mind. So there is a logical, emotional, and those are the values that we are bringing into. So let's talk about it. And when I think about it, I looked at how do I present in my brands, right? So look at my personal logo. That's my logo. What I represent with that logo is my expertise. That becomes really personal and emotional to me. I, as an executive coach, I, as an author, am myself a brand for those types of expertise, and it's reflecting with the simplicity. And no matter the type of documentation I may have, training content, any business contract, my logo appears there. So it is a symbol of my branding as well. And the other one was the emotional. And I looked at the nonprofit that I have formed, Lead My Way. And as you see that there is a lot of emotion that goes into, because not only is a personal cause, and there's a lot of emotion that evokes, and there's a story to tell behind it, symbolic, but at the same time, it is empowering as well. So reflection of the butterfly rising out black and white, I have a story to go with it. As a keynote speaker, as a founder, as a filmmaker, when I screen films, when I go as a speaker, I don't go into describing what has gone into my logo, but I have a story. Why Lead My Way? There's a personal story to go with it. Symbolically, it's representing so much. So that has become a brand. So there's an emotional value to it. And if you have a cause-based business, by all means, bring those colors in, bring those reflections into your brand. And the business brand is Coaches Oasis. There is nothing that I would say is emotional or representing. Yes, it is our logo. Those colors are our logo, our brand colors. It's more of a business brand. When it comes to the consistency is throughout. Like you mentioned your social media. No matter where you go, or you come to website, which is your store, everywhere there should be. So that becomes consistency. And if I were to expand, my story to go with is Oasis. Oasis meant to me a gathering place. A gathering place where you come in with the like-minded people, and you create something, you transform, you deliver. So that's kind of much that I could share about it. So I think using my own brands was a perfect way to kind of answer this question. But I'm sure that in your audiences and people who are listening to us, there are a lot of people out there have a fabulous story behind it. What started their business? And how do you want to represent that? Are there any symbolic colors that they go into it? A lot of people that I'm sure you have heard the purple color is for transformation or something it represents. How do you weave in into that the symbolic images that you create? What it means to you, it becomes your brand story. Keep that in mind. And your logo, if you took something out of Vistaprint or something out of Flip Arts and use that as a logo, the logo may not be your brand, but you could make your brand from your values, your pillars of your products, and weave that into your logo.
Yeah.
It can happen. So there's a lot of conversation we can have around it.
Fabulous. If you could possibly stop sharing, that would be
Yes.
amazing. Yeah, thank you. That was super, super powerful. Yes, and I've heard of businesses that have no logo, but the branding is super powerful because
Yes.
logo is just a mark. It's not the representation. Well, it can be representation of a brand, but it's not only source of branding. That's what I'm going to continue with the consistency of the theme for our next question.
Yeah.
So consistency, it's not only like we previously mentioned about the graphics and even the tone of voice, but also thinking of consistency of how you are showing up for your business, how you are showing up for your customers, the way you structure your business, the way you speak to your customers, and it shows up also on your products, on your packaging. If you have physical product, then your branding is going to be truly represented in your packaging. And I've seen this recently that a Coca-Cola company started from creating a bottle that would be recognizable even if it was broken down. If it was smashed on the ground, you could still recognize the Coca-Cola bottle from the shape of the bottle, the colors on the label, and it didn't have to have a whole logo in one piece. So making that impact is of course this is the best brand, one of the best brands in the world. But also they wanted to create an impact, and they went with the emotions of their customers. Every time we see advertising, Coca-Cola advertising, it makes us feel nice and warm and welcoming, and and asks us, like, when was the last time you had Coca-Cola, or every time you drink a Coca-Cola, it just transforms you into that nice warm homey feeling. So when you are creating branding for yourself, then think about that consistency of, like Ritu mentioned, emotional and logical.
Can I add to what you have just shared? It was
Yes.
such a wonderful way of that bringing in emotions of your consumers, right? So Coca-Cola is a global company. They have the funds, the departments, and all the resources that they can gather and create some wonderful experiences and gather consumer stories. But it does involve those um, consumer experiences, what they felt bringing into it. So that's kind of um, a very warm way to engage communities at large. And let's take the same uh, experience where a small business owner, a subject matter expert, may not have those types of resources such as the global company Coca-Cola has. So where do you stand? You still have a story. You have your customer experiences using your products or services. This was such a wonderful example of weaving that into your passions and pillars of creating your brand. As you mentioned, that many successful brands may not have a logo, but these days we are using, social media posts and so much. The logo is expected. You can have it, but weave that into that recognition of your values makes it stand out when the people look at it, and there is familiarity throughout. It sets you apart.
Yeah, yeah, totally. I've spent years of creating logos and branding for companies, big and small and tiny. So I've had plenty of experience of creating branding, and it's super powerful to touch on. Um, and not necessarily small business owners will be thinking of um, uh, trying to evoke emotions through their branding. They're not necessarily going to know how to do that unless they are being led and being taken, handheld and given a strategy for that step by step, which is really that's one of the ways that it can be created. So Ritu, how a business owner can understand how customer retention works, because we mentioned about the messaging to our customers, uh, but how can you retain those customers that you already have?
So that's a very good question. Now, if we look at everything you could find on online platforms, right? So if you have a traditional business with a location where your repeated customers came, as we have all noticed, pretty much every industry was impacted by COVID-19 epidemics. And people's buying behaviors have changed. People's needs change over time. If your product and service is replicated easily with an online providers, so your um, customers may be searching something because of ease of convenience, uh, or something else that might trigger them, or advertisement that they have seen. That can happen to any business, either you're small or a big business. So the customer retention, where small business owners are always looking into expanding your customer base, finding new customers, but same time, you may not have as much resources or bandwidth to retain your existing customers. That is also important because that's you have spent many years or years into building those customers, and retaining them is equally important. So we really look into as a customized approach to the type of businesses you have, the competition you have, and as generational needs change, your type of product and services with generational gaps might change. How do you need to tailor to the new customers and retain old? It may not be the same messaging. So how do you tailor that? It's more than what we can handle, but I think you get a message. Um, the retention requires as much effort as much as uh, you know uh, gaining conversion of the new customers.
Mm, that's really important. Yeah, sometimes it's much easier to connect with the customers you already have rather than reaching out and searching for new ones.
Yes. And I think most of us would agree if you are a small business owner, a lot of the small service type of businesses depend on referrals, right? So you're recommended to a friend or a colleague or neighbor, and you count on those types of, and so keeping your existent circle is equally important as much as is gaining new customers.
Hmm. I think we are coming to the end. It's been amazing, right? And it's probably one of the first ones, and that's the start to it all. And we'll be having many different gifts and surprises for our audience. And yeah, I see that. There is people we have some questions, but we
Sure.
will get back to them.
Is there anything we can answer them? If it's something quickly, do we have time to manage that?
I think the only thing is that for some reason the people are not able to view the video, so we can just ask. We can get back to any questions that are being left on Facebook. You can DM us. You can send us messages privately and connect with us, and we are happy to chat to you about the next steps for your brand, and give you advice on what to do next. And be on the lookout. We are creating different events in the next couple of weeks, but we'll speak to you later about that.
Well, thank you, Edith. I think this was a very good start. And for our audiences, please take a look at it. Please reach out. There's a lot coming, and we are here to help you.
Yes, we are. Will we be sharing anything with anyone
Yeah.
who's viewing
Yes,
this live?
I can send you a link that I just shared with you in the chat here. Well, please feel free to share that with people. Um, anyone who attended or even on our group. Um, I would encourage them to please take a look at it, and feel free to reach out to us for any questions, anything we discussed or something uh, that related to our discussion or a very different, we would be able to uh, address that.
Yeah, definitely. We will share that with you, with all the audience that are here. If there was any glitches, we apologize, and you will definitely be receiving the link to this video, so you can always contact us in case you missed this video. So thank you so much, and Ritu, it was amazing chatting to you again. We always have very long conversations, but it's worth it. It's worth for our business owners to learn about branding and how they can power up their business.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you. Bye-bye.